I'm 71 years old, and I want to tell you something I didn't understand until my voice was already gone. Not gone in the sense that I can't speak. Gone in the sense that no one really knows who I am anymore, and I'm not sure I ever let them. I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I don't have much interest in drama at this age. I'm saying it because I've reached a point where looking back feels heavier than looking forward. There's more behind me than ahead, and some truths don't stay quiet forever. Most days now are quiet. Not peaceful quiet, just quiet. The kind where you hear the refrigerator hum and the clock ticking, and you realize those sounds are your main company. I've had a long life, a decent one by most measures. I worked, I raised a family, I paid my bills, I didn't cause trouble. People would probably describe me as steady, reliable, easy to get along with. That last one is where this begins. I learned very early that keeping the peace was rewarded. As a child, when I stayed quiet during arguments, adults nodded approvingly. When I didn't complain, I was called mature. When I swallowed my feelings, the room stayed calm. Calm felt like safety, so I learned to choose it every time. By my 20s, it was already a habit. I wasn't unhappy exactly. I just didn't ask myself what I wanted. I thought that was something selfish people did. I had a job that paid enough. I married someone kind enough. We didn't fight much. People told us we were lucky. What they didn't see were the conversations that never happened, the ones I rehearsed in my head and then decided weren't worth the tension. The opinions I softened until they barely existed. The moments I felt hurt and told myself it wasn't a big deal. I told myself I was being mature. I told myself I was being reasonable. I told myself there would be time later to sort things out. There was always later. In my 30s, life filled up quickly. Work became busier. Children arrived. Responsibility stacked on top of responsibility. There was always something that needed doing, someone who needed calming, a problem that could be avoided if I just stayed quiet a little longer. I became very good at it. I could feel my thoughts rise up, ready to be spoken, and I would gently push them back down. Not angrily, not dramatically, just a small internal motion, like smoothing a wrinkle out of a shirt. I thought that was strength. I missed things without realizing I was missing them. School events where I sat in the audience but felt strangely distant. Dinners where everyone talked and I listened. Arguments that ended quickly because I dove in before they could really begin. People appreciated it. That's the dangerous part. When you erase yourself, others often thank you for it. At work, I was dependable. I didn't rock the boat. Promotions passed me by, but I told myself that was fine. I didn't want the stress. I didn't want the conflict. I didn't want to be seen as difficult. At home, I was the calm one, the mediator, the one who smoothed things over. When something bothered me, I waited for a better moment to bring it up. That moment rarely came, and when it did, the feeling had dulled enough that it didn't seem worth mentioning. Years passed like that, quietly, efficiently. The cost didn't arrive all at once. It never does. It arrived in small ways, in the way people stopped asking what I thought, in the way decisions were made without me, not out of cruelty, but out of habit, in the way my presence became functional instead of personal. I told myself this was adulthood, that everyone felt this way, that wanting more was childish. Sometimes, late at night, I would feel a kind of pressure in my chest. Not pain, just fullness, like words piling up with nowhere to go. I'd take a breath, turn over, and tell myself tomorrow would be easier. Tomorrow always came. Relief didn't. The turning point wasn't a shouting match or a dramatic breakup. It was quieter than that. It was a hospital room. My wife was lying in a bed that looked too large for her. The room smelled like disinfectant and old flowers. The doctor had already said what needed to be said. We were waiting. That's what you do at the end. You wait. She looked at me and said, "You've been very good to me." I nodded. I said thank you. Then she asked, "Were you happy?" I opened my mouth to answer, and nothing came out. Not because I didn't love her, I did. Not because I was angry, I wasn't. It was because I didn't know how to speak honestly anymore. I had spent so long keeping the peace that I couldn't find the words when they finally mattered. She passed a few days later. After the funeral, people told me how strong I was, how calm, how composed. They meant it as praise. I accepted it politely. Inside, something had cracked. In the months that followed, the quiet got louder. Without the daily routines of caregiving and compromise, there was nothing to distract me from myself. I started noticing how little of me existed in my own life. My children called, but the conversations stayed on the surface. I realized I didn't know how to talk about anything deeper. I had trained myself out of it. When they asked how I was doing, I said I was fine. It was easier. It kept things light. But light can be lonely. There were things I wanted to say. Apologies that had waited too long. Explanations that no longer had a place to land. Feelings that had aged past their usefulness. I couldn't fix it. That's the part people don't like to hear. Some things don't get repaired. They just end. I don't blame anyone else for this. That would be dishonest. No one told me to stay silent. No one forced me to smooth everything over. I made those choices, one small one at a time. They made sense back then. That's important to say. I wasn't foolish. I wasn't weak. I was trying to do right by the people I loved. I thought peace meant safety. I thought harmony meant love. What I didn't understand was that real closeness needs friction sometimes. It needs honesty, even when it disrupts the calm. By the time I understood that, most of the people who needed to hear my truth were gone, or too far away to recognize it. Now, at 71, I spend a lot of time remembering conversations that never happened. I imagine different versions of myself. The one who spoke up sooner. The one who said no when it mattered. The one who allowed himself to be uncomfortable. I don't dwell there too long. There's no use punishing myself. But I don't look away from it either. This is part of my life, whether I like it or not. If you're listening to this, and you're younger, I want to be careful with my words. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't know your life. I don't know your risks. I only know mine. Keeping the peace cost me my voice. And without my voice, parts of me faded, slowly, quietly, almost politely. If there's something you've been holding back for years because it feels inconvenient, or because you don't want to upset someone, I understand. Truly. I made a lifetime out of that feeling. Just know that silence doesn't stay neutral forever. It leans, and over time, it usually leans away from you. I used to think being agreeable made me easy to love. What it really did was make me easy to overlook. I'm not bitter. I still feel grateful for many things. I had moments of joy. I had laughter. I had people who cared about me. This isn't a story of total loss. It's a story of partial disappearance. There isn't much time left for me to reinvent myself. I don't need that. I'm learning to speak more now, even if my audience is small. Sometimes it's just me saying things out loud in an empty room. It still matters. If this meant something to you, you don't need to do anything about it. Just sit with it. Let it be uncomfortable if it needs to be. That's something I avoided for a very long time. I don't have a rousing ending. Life doesn't offer those at this stage. What I have is acceptance and a quiet hope that my warning lands gently where it's needed. I lost my voice trying to keep the peace. I don't want you to lose yours without realizing what it's costing you. That's all I wanted to say.